Welcome back to 90 Seconds Plus with Invercargill City Mayor Nobby Clark, and we're going to kick things off with the election. We'll start with that. Obviously, the mayoral race is getting a bit out the gate and a bit weird, but anyway, it is Invercargill's mayoral time. So, what's the story, Nobby? Obviously, Maxwell or Andrew, or your brother uses a number of names.
Sure.
We obviously covered that last week.
So it's a bit of a farce, really.
Yeah.
Everybody in the family knows him as Maxwell. His real name is Andrew Maxwell George Clark. Yeah. Nobody anywhere in Tasman, which is where he's lived all his life, knows him as Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't. Most of my family members didn't even know he had that name. So you've got to ask yourself, why would you stand for two electorates and use two different names, unless you want to just muddy the waters and confuse it. I've lived here for 50 years, since I moved down from Auckland. My recollection is he's only visited Invercargill once. He'll say he's been more than that, but not that I'm aware of. Like, he knows nothing about us other than what I've discussed with him openly recently, thinking that I was helping him for the Tasman electorate, only to find out that he's actually doing both, which I thought was not really honest with the ratepayer base in either area.
Yeah, it's very misleading. An opportunist, or opportunistic. Yeah. He's trying to piggyback the surname Clark now that it's established name as a mayor down here. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I don't think I think people are wise. You know, we may be seen as a bunch of hicks down here sometimes, but I think we're not stupid either. No, we're very clear switched on people down Southland.
Look, as a council, we're conservative. We've done exceptionally well with the projects we've had in the last 3 or 4 years. Invercargill Central, the museum. I keep a list of things that council has done while I've been there, and it's not just me. I need support to do that. It runs out to 40 items that we've done, and we tend to forget about those, and we just deal with the latest drama that's sitting around there. So we've done some really sharp stuff. Our level of debt is very low in comparison to most councils, and we've kept the rates in the bottom 20% in the country for years on end. So we've done really, really well. But I often get asked, you're sitting silent and you're not telling anybody who you'd vote for. So I'll take this opportunity to be up front. I'll take
a short plug.
Well, it is. I know that your business will be providing services to many candidates, and that's what democracy is all about. You're a professional business, and that's the name of the game. But having worked with the candidates,
Tom, you're talking the mayoral candidates that are standing.
Tom Campbell's a standout, and I'm not being silly about this. He would be a better mayor than I've been in the last 3 years, and that's not because he wouldn't have codes of conduct or anything like that. His corporate experience going back over the last 20 or 30 years is just outstanding. So he's the man that should lead our city going forward, but people will have other views as well.
Now, changing gears, the hot topic last week was the new clock tower, or proposed clock tower, and the budget for it. Now, my thinking is, now that the council's admitted that they've got up to $1.9 million to blow on it, all the pricing and the quotes will now come slightly under. So, you know, I'll put one in for 1.7, and then contract someone else to do it for $1 million. You know, that's where we're heading now. Or we'll get 3 or 4 quotes now, and they'll be just under that budget. Whereas I would have thought it would have made more sense for Russell Pearson's the guy in charge of this, to come to council and go, here's a proposed design, and our costs are, we've had 3 quotes, and they're this, and this. Not, as I said in my bit of an opinion piece, so I guess, that it's some numbers written on the back of a beer coaster, you know? I mean, come on.
Well, you and I will agree to disagree on that. So the 1.98 is not the budget for the clock. It's a combination of 2 sets of contingency money that we had in those projects of doing Wachner Place. We had $1 million in there for the work that Jeff was doing, on the assumption that if he got some contaminated ground, it would increase the cost. Well, that hasn't been the case, and so, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I can tell you now, we won't spend 1.9 on it, or anywhere near that. I know where it'll probably land, and it's a lot short of that figure. But the key thing is not to get ahead of yourself. The key thing is, do we like the current design? Now, there's a raft of opinions in there. You heard Councillor Pottenger say that he thought it was a
Burning Man. I don't always agree with Rangi Pottenger, but he was bang on there. It looks like one of those Burning Man features where it's going to be burnt to the ground.
Sure. So that's one option. And the other option is, I quite like the design because it's different. And the beauty of having a central clock like that is it can become a bit of an attraction in its own right. If I go to New Plymouth, Palmerston North, Wanganui, lots of places have got traditional white pillars, and we used to have one as well, with a clock sitting on the top that doesn't work. And so we want it to be a bit of a discussion point. And if every second or third person thinks it's a bit ugly and doesn't look good, it doesn't matter. It's an iconic piece in that walking the place. So the first step is not to worry about the money. Not that I'm saying that we don't worry about the money. The key issue is the issue of getting the design right, and make sure that the majority of people, it doesn't matter what you do, we won't get consensus from everybody.
You're going to please everybody.
No. So, and we're not going to go back out to consultation because it'll just slow the process. We will get a series of different design features which are different to the current one, which is very much steel orientated. And we'll look at other options. We already had looked at one that was a bit of a wave effect, but it got too expensive. So Russell will go out and get those for us, and then council will make a decision on which one. But it won't be anywhere near $2 million, I can tell you now.
I thought the funniest thing, the outcome from the clock was nobody's talking about the bus lane through walking the place anymore. Well, and speaking on that, we tried out the restaurant yesterday just for pop in for a coffee at the new hotel across the road, and it was a great experience. It's looking really good, and it was nice to be able to walk out of the Distinction Hotel and then walk back into walking the place across the Desk Street, and then you know what I mean. It's just reconnected that whole area. I think it's going to be really magnificent and awesome for our city, and it's so much nicer already. Just the new paving and everything, and just that opened up space. It's opened it right up. So it's a really nice experience now. I think it's going to be great.
Well, look, the new hotel is a real credit to Jeff.
Yeah.
And I know there is some unease around whether his presence in the marketplace will make it hard for the ILT. I personally don't believe that will be the case. I think we will see within the next 2 or 3 months that Jeff potentially will have both bus and train clients coming into the city, which is a whole new area that we don't have at the moment.
Yeah.
And while there'll be some impact for ILT, I don't think it'll be anywhere as gloomy as people say it will be. Yeah, I think Jeff will generate tourism.
And actually grow the market, which is what we need.
Definitely will do that.
More people coming here and spending money in our city, which is great, and enjoying our city, what it's got to offer as well.
For sure.
As well as the region of Southland, you know what I mean? That's the great thing. We're a base for Catlins or Riverton or, the Te Anau and Bluff.
Definitely Destination Bluff it's got to be on the horizon.
And then another one we need to look at is the rot, or the abuse going on with the mobility subsidies and so on. It's horrific. It's jumped from, what did you say? It's jumped from, where are we, 1,400 users to 2,700, and it's not going to stop. It seems to be just a rort. And if someone had how many trips? It was
225.
Yeah, 225 trips in a month. Now that's just outright abuse.
So let me explain what I wrote to the Minister about, which started some of this. I went to the Minister and said, before COVID, government paid roughly 50% of the price of a taxi. Council paid 25% and the client paid 25%. In COVID time, they were a bit worried about, the Labor government was a bit worried about people having access out in the community around COVID time. So they increased their 50% up to 75%. Council paid the remaining 25%. The clients got it for free. Mm-hmm. So that was okay. But post-COVID, it's remained free. And the dilemma that we've now got is that the government's pulled back to 50%, which is what they originally had. We're putting in 25%. But most of the providers are not charging the client. And that begs some questions. One, if they are sustainable, those taxi trips are sustainable on a 75% combination between government and us, then we're paying too much.
Yes.
If they don't need to recover. The other thing is when you make something totally free, people will use it more than they should.
Totally. If they've got to contribute their 25%, which they should.
Yep, absolutely.
That's right.
So if we go back, which is what we've decided to do, well, council hasn't decided yet, but the committee is going to recommend it. We go back to telling the providers that they need to recover the 25%. I think that for some people that are on invalid's benefit or those on national super, especially those over 80, they all start thinking about how many trips they have. Because a trip is not a return thing, it's one trip into town and one's back. But when you've got people who've got free, and I've got examples of people using 4 return trips in a day. This is a person that's not working, I might add. So go into town to see the doctor, come home. Go in to do the groceries, come home. Go in to do some shopping at a second-hand shop, come home. Go out to a friend's place to take some of the goods they've bought at the second-hand shop and go and see their friends in the evening. 4 trips, it's excessive. And the dilemma that we've got with the free stuff is the numbers have jumped up in just 2 years from 1,400 people using the system to 2,700, which is nearly double.
That is,
And that cost next year for us, going forward next year, is our share will go up by $500,000 potentially. Now, that's not saying we're paying $500,000. That's the increase on what we're currently paying.
So just to
clarify, it's going to go up to about $2.1 million.
So the council's what, 25% they pay is over 2.2 million. Is that right?
It'll be close to that if we get the $500,000 increase.
Wow.
So what you can say is at the moment we don't have that bulk of increase. So it's 500,000 less than that. So it's about $1.5 million.
Still.
But it could go up to over $2 million.
Wow.
And it's too big a cost to pay. Now, I'm a supporter of people having relevant things, but there are people making choices just not to run a car
Just
anymore.
abusing it,
And because they get a free taxi. If they have to pay 25%, or after they've used so many they have to pay 50%, that might curtail back the demand, I guess. So I wrote the Minister about the numbers. I wrote about who provides the cards, the TM cards, Total Mobility Cards. If they're issued out by an agency and one of their members asks for a card, logic would tell me it's pretty hard to say to the person no.
That's right.
And so I think those cards should be centrally managed by council. And we may get a reduction in the cost of the 25% dropping back. And we manage the cards so that we get some clear policy around how people can get the cards.
What is the criteria around it? Like, do they have to supply a medical certificate? Or
They do, but you know that once you're opening them up to plus 80 people, the main criteria is just purely the age.
And there's obviously younger as well, and then there's people on disability as well, which
there are. Look,
need it.
Some of the disability seriously do need it. And look, I could show you an example of somebody that legitimately could use 40 or 50 trips per month if they were going to and from work every day. And we want people that have disabilities to be in employment. But it can't be totally subsidised by us. There's got to be some user pay in the system. So that's what I've raised with the Minister. He's come back and said yes, he's got New Zealand Transport Association looking into this criteria. It's not just in Invercargill. This is going on in many places in the country. Unfortunately, our council paper that came up got ahead of what the NZTA may be renegotiating, and that's where I had a little bit of objection to say, well, look, don't mind the user pay, 25%, but don't go any further until you know what's going to be standard throughout the country. So we have backed off that other implication a little bit, but it needs to be raised. And I've got, for every one disability person that comes in and complains about where we're heading, I get half a dozen say, good on you for doing it. We are quite genuine in our needs. We are careful. But there are people sort of, as you say, rorting the system a little bit.
And abusing it.
It's
90 Seconds Plus with Invercargill City Mayor Nobby Clark. Now make sure if you're not registered to vote, get out and get registered. It's simple as you can do it online, or you can pop it to council or other places and do it. It takes a couple of minutes to check that you're on the roll. Until next week, see you later.